Hello and welcome to the Korean Beauty Show podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Lee, Kbeauty expert, founder of Style Story, your go-to for Kbeauty, and of course your guide to the world of all things Kbeauty, Korean skincare. We are back for another week of episodes. So another jam-packed week actually for this week. Obviously today I'll be running through all of the newness, and then for Thursday's deep dive episode I've planned something that I think you will love if you are really into ingredients and ingredient combinations. So make sure that you stay subscribed to the podcast in your feed so that the new episodes will automatically download for you. That's just a little handy tip. If you're a regular listener of the show, if you stay subscribed to it, then the new episodes will drop in your feed. You don't have to go and look for them. I know as a podcast listener myself, that is one of the most frustrating things when you're like, has my favorite show got any new content? I've listened to absolutely everything in the backlog and I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So staying subscribed is the easiest way to do that. Now let us jump straight into the headlines for this Tuesday. And the first thing that caught my beady little Kbeauty eye was that there is a new patent in town. So Nowcos, which is one of the OEM ODM manufacturers here in Korea, has filed a patent for a new moisturizing composition that can help skin damaged by fine dust or yellow dust. Now, if you are not someone that has lived in Korea before, or maybe not lived in East Asia, you might not necessarily be familiar with this phenomenon that we have here of fine dust and yellow dust. So what we're talking about is, in the case of the yellow dust, it is a really obviously yellow type of dust that sort of permeates the air in spring, and it's basically thrown up by one of the deserts, and it's really gross. It's disgusting to breathe in. It gets really bad in around May, I would say. That's probably the worst month for the yellow dust. The fine dust, on the other hand, is one of these kind of things, as the hint is in the name, fine dust. It's like microscopic, really small dust, but it's not microscopic when there's that much of it in the air. And what happens is, on a bad dust day here in Korea, you can't kind of see across the city properly. That's the way you can tell if it's a bad dust day or not. So if you look across to like the horizon, or maybe if you have any mountains that you can normally see really clearly on a clear day, on a bad dust day, everything just looks a little bit hazy. And it's obviously terrible for your health. And that is one of the main reasons pre-COVID that people used to wear masks around here in Korea. But it's also really terrible for skin. And you will notice, if you've been following Kbeauty for a while, that there are products, anti-pollution style products that make claims around protecting the skin from dust. And so these are the kind of things, I guess, that we are talking about here with the patent that Nowcos has acquired. And what the patent does is that it claims to remove skin pollutants, and it's using a type of olive tree leaf fermentation extract. So basically what it's saying is that it will help to maintain moisture in the skin, but it won't damage the skin's normal sebum. And it can also help to prevent skin aging by improving the appearance of wrinkles. It has anti-inflammatory impacts, antioxidant, antibacterial. And basically the company has come out and said that because environmental pollution has been increasing recently, the skin can become a lot more easily damaged and irritated by all of these foreign substances, the fine dust, the yellow dust. So this patent technology is expected to help prevent skin damage caused by that. And the researchers are apparently strengthening their R&D capabilities, and this is one of the focus areas for them, is to actually come up with some new ingredients and patents for things that can help us care for the skin during during the change of seasons and during times of high dust. So I thought that was a little bit of an interesting one. I'm seeing more and more of these kind of products crop up over the years. Some are a little bit more maybe believable than others in terms of what they might actually be able to do for the skin, but I know from having suffered through the dust now for years that it is really, really bad for your health. On bad dust days here, which tends to be in spring, sometimes I just feel absolutely exhausted, like your whole body just kind of shuts down. Some people aren't as affected by it, and then other people will tell you all day that they just don't feel well. They just want to go and lie down and have a sleep. So if that's what it's like just for your overall health, you can imagine that it's pretty terrible for the skin as well. And there's all these tips that the government posts for basically how to care for your body and your skin on bad dust days like that. And for example, they say you shouldn't, even though you feel really tempted to jump in and have like a really, really hot shower at the end of the day, that's not actually a great idea. Keep it lukewarm, like those kind of things. So if you're not familiar with it and you live somewhere that doesn't have bad dust, you are very, very lucky. And it has certainly made me appreciate countries that don't have these kind of problems. I know just among foreigners, the fine dust tends to be one of the main reasons that people give for actually leaving Korea. You know, maybe they've been here for a while, and that if there's something that really impacts their decision about whether to stay or whether to move on from the country, the fine dust is often one of them. And that's particularly the case for people that have kids, just because obviously with little lungs, it's just that much more difficult for the kids to sort of breathe. And then it impacts, you know, whether they can go out and play outside, all of those kind of things. So that is something that you may or may not be familiar with, but there you go. That was in the headlines this week. Now, the other thing that caught my eye is the fact that many global beauty companies, not just Kbeauty companies, are refocusing their attention on the Indian market. And this is apparently considered a post-China market. So it's an alternative. It's expected to be an alternative to China. Obviously, there are a lot of things going on in China at the moment because of COVID-19, a lot of shutdowns and things like that. And so many companies are turning their focus to India, and they are expecting to see an increase in luxury consumerism, I suppose, in particular in India. So that will be a little bit of an interesting one. I've seen quite a few Kbeauty companies doing things in India over the last couple of years. So I think that's a little bit of a watch this space and let's see what happens. It's not just Kbeauty though. Global beauty companies also are paying more attention to what is going on in India. Now, the last thing to round out this week's news headlines that caught my attention is that more and more complaints are being made about how Korea's Ministry of Food and Drug Safety is handling the category of functional cosmetics. So in Korea, they have this additional category, I guess you could call it, of functional cosmetics. Whereas in many other jurisdictions, what they've got is basic cosmetics, basic skincare, whatever you want to call them, however the country defines them. And then you've got your drugs or products that make drug claims. In Australia, we call them therapeutic goods claims, which is basically just a fancy way for categorizing products that are claiming to make a physiological change to the body. So they're not just improving the appearance of your skin, they are actually, I don't know, for example, inhibiting tyrosinase. So they have the ability to then affect, you know, the melanin in the skin or something like that. Maybe they're blocking UVA and UVB rays because they're sunscreens. But Korea has this additional category for functional cosmetics. And more people in the industry here are basically complaining about how this category is dealt with and saying that we should abolish it altogether. And then they're also being quite critical of how the ministry is punishing people for breaching this section of the legislation. And, you know, particularly when it comes to things like advertising functional cosmetics. when it comes to bringing new products onto the market as functional cosmetics, essentially they need to be proven through clinical trials. But then in Korea, the data also needs to be submitted again to the Ministry for Food and Drug Safety, and they conduct basically a feasibility study into it. And people are just saying, it's just endless, the amount of regulatory reviews that they have to go through, and they just want to abolish it, and they just want things to be done on the basis of clinical trials, because obviously it costs a lot of money to put products through clinical trials in the first place. And they're also then complaining about, if there is something like a mistake is made on the printing of the boxes, or a labeling mistake or something is made in relation to this category of products, that the fines, I suppose, outweigh the other categories. Basically just people having a bitch and a moan is what the news was about. And saying, can we look at this again and come up with a better system, because there's just too much regulation going on. So that is a little bit of an interesting one. I mean, I don't think it's that easy to just get rid of what they're calling double regulation. I think, there's a whole system and everything that's grown up around this category of functional cosmetics. So it will be interesting to see how they decide to respond to this, if at all. But basically, there's more and more voices in the industry that are just expressing their discontent with the way it currently is. So look, I mean, I don't really have a horse in this race, so to speak, because I'm not in the business of selling functional cosmetics in Korea. But it is a very interesting category of products in general compared to how other countries regulate their products. I'm not going to say it's better or worse. It's literally just different. It's got its own legislative history, I guess, for how it came up in the first place. But suffice to say that has been in the headlines this week. So let's see if anything more is penned, and also whether the ministry decides to respond to that or not. I will keep you guys updated. All right, now on to this week's question of the week. And I've actually had a few really, really good ones come in this week, actually. So I will run through them over the next couple of weeks. But this question was asking, I would like to know the connection between Korean skin and diet. Are supplements commonly used? So this is a great question. And, lots and lots of countries, people, I guess, these days are talking more and more about health supplements and things that we can ingest, I guess, in order to help our beauty. And Koreans in general are very, very big on supplements. And I think that this is in part influenced by Hanyak, like Korean style medicine, Oriental medicine, however you want to call it. And Korea obviously has a very strong history of incorporating these different kinds of medicines into their approach to health in general. So on the Korean market, there are products that claim to help you study better. There are lots and lots of different products to help with hangovers that you can either drink before you even start drinking or afterwards. That is a huge category of products that I was a little bit surprised to see when I first moved over here, just because you'd have to be really careful with how you market that kind of stuff in other countries, like particularly in Australia. Anything that would be claiming to get rid of your hangover that doesn't involve just not drinking as much would probably be a bit on the nose in terms of the regulation around that kind of thing. So I was really surprised to see how much they market all of that kind of stuff. The other thing is that obviously there are lots of, drinks and pills and things like that that people are taking for beauty as well. Lactobacillus is a big one. Collagen is another big one. So I had a little bit of a look into it just to see who is kind of taking what. Now, for men, the biggest things that they are taking in terms of supplements are multivitamins. omega-3, so like your fish oils and things like that, vitamin C, ginseng, and then probiotics. So ginseng is one that you will just see mentioned again and again in lots and lots of different areas of Korean life, including things like supplements, beauty products, and of course that is because of the influence of Korean traditional medicine, and ginseng being such a prized part of that and a really, really important root historically for Korea. So that's a really big one. For women, it's similar but slightly different. So also again, multivitamins, they've got vitamin C as well. They've got the ginseng, they've got probiotics. Women are more likely to take things like iron and calcium and vitamin D as well. So definitely people are taking a whole range of different supplements. Now, in terms of whether I think that you should go out and buy all of those and take them, I think that this is the kind of thing that unless you have a deficiency in your body or a medical condition maybe that means that you don't process a lot of these things like you should, and I fall into that category. I have a very rare type of kidney disease, and that actually impacts on the ability for my body to absorb a lot of nutrients and things like that. So my doctor has prescribed specific things for me. I think if you fall into that kind of category, it makes sense. If you are deficient in iron, it kind of makes sense that you would take that through supplementation. But I think that there are problems with just going out and prescribing yourself with a whole lot of different supplements and vitamins. And one thing off the top of my head that I had firsthand experience with was probiotics. So everyone in our office at Style Story here in Korea was, raving about these probiotics. So I went out and got myself some and, was taking them. And it wasn't until months and months later that I was just having constant problems with my tummy, just feeling really, really just awful, and needing to go to the toilet really frequently. And then I checked the probiotics that I had gotten myself, which I thought were the same as the ones everyone else was getting, and it turned out that I had gotten the highest dose possible. So there was like so many, hundreds of thousands of probiotics in these ones, and I had somehow accidentally bought the one that was really, really, really high, and it gave me just the worst ever stomach pain. And as soon as I stopped taking them, I felt immediately so much better. And while I was taking them, I can't say that I noticed, a massive improvement in my skin or anything like that. It was literally just taking them to take them. So I think this is one that I would recommend probably not doing that and not just going out and buying a whole heap of stuff. I think you can end up with really expensive pee that way. But also, if you are not checking the interaction of all of the different things and checking, the daily limits and whatnot, you can actually run into problems. So I think if your doctor has prescribed something like that, or for a fact that you are lacking in a key vitamin for a particular reason, then maybe to look into supplementation. But I think there's a lot of self-medication going on in Korea as well, and it's probably not the best idea. So just watch all of that. But yes, obviously I think Koreans are like everyone else in that people are always on the lookout for something that can help improve, everything, their mood, how they feel, maybe to lose weight, things like that. So yes, the answer to the question is yes, the supplements here are very commonly used, but I wouldn't go out and buy a whole range of stuff just because people here are taking it, because I don't think the vast majority of people here know what they're doing any more than people in, whatever country you guys live in. I'm sure it's the same. A whole lot of people that don't really know what they're doing going out and buying a whole lot of stuff that they don't really know how to use. So yes, that is the answer to the question. I hope that's helpful. Let's go and take a look at some of the new Kbeauty releases that we have on the Style Story website. And I have some good news. We have had yet another round of products arrive. Many new products from a whole lot of different brands, from Benton, from IG Care, too many to even name. So go and check out the new products page if you are if you are just wanting to see what's new. We've got a whole lot of new brands that we are really excited about as well. I will run through just some of of them. And the first one I had on my list was Dr. Jart's Pore Remedy Exfoliating Serum. And this is one of the gentle type water-like serums that contains 7% of PHA. And PHA is one of the acids that is a really good one for people with sensitive skin. So who I would recommend this product for in your routine, if you're looking for a product to improve your skin's texture, to help make pores look a bit smaller, to help remove dead skin, then this is the kind of product for you. It also helps to control excess oil as well. So PHA, there's 7% in there. It's a chemical type exfoliator. Obviously, that's what we're talking about, but it has a large molecular size, which doesn't penetrate as deeply into the skin, which does make this acid a better option for sensitive skin compared to things like AHAs and BHAs. It's also got panthenol, macadamia seed oil, so a nice rounded formula there in case you are after a product like that. The other one that I think many of you will enjoy is Mary and May's Idebenone and Blackberry Intense Cream. This is just a nice antioxidant moisturizer. It's got 63% of blackberry complex extract, and it's also got idebenone as well. So that's a really nice, powerful antioxidant. It's got 4 times higher antioxidant effect than vitamin C and 10 times higher than coenzyme Q10. So again, this is just a nice, thick, rich cream. I think it's probably going to be better for people with a more mature skin type, but if any of those ingredients sound like you and something you would like to try, go and check that out. We've got a whole bunch of new Mary and May products up on the website, so that is a brand to go and check out. I would love you to go and let me know what you think about them. We are expanding the collection. We've had really great feedback on the brand so far, so go and check out some of the many different products that we have up on the Style Story website at the moment. And we also had, I was very excited to see some more new reviews for products this week. So let me run through those. They were all fairly short and sharp, which I love. I love reviewers that just get straight to the point. So we had one for Bubble Tea Steam Cream, and our reviewer gave it 5 stars and said, completely love it, will repurchase. We need more Jellicoe products at Lauren Lee. Oh, that's me. Thanks. They're amazing. Thank you very much for your review. And Roger, that I have a couple of products that I'm working on right now as we speak. In fact, I am testing one of them out right now somewhere on my body. So keep your ears peeled? I don't know. Keep an ear out, because hopefully we will have some more updates soon on more Jellicoe products for you to love. The second review is for D'Alba Pierre de Mont's White Truffle First Spray Serum, and our reviewer said, keeps me hydrated throughout the day. This is beautiful. Keeps me hydrated during the day, especially in winter. I love it. My beauty therapist asked me what my skin routine was because my skin was glowing thanks to this and the Jellicoe toner. So thank you very much for sharing your review. One of my favorite products to use during the day and during winter as well. So I think I have a skin twin here. And the third review was for our Dewy Glaze toner, Jellicoe Dewy Glaze toner. This was a 5-star review. And the reviewer said, the only toner I can use without drying my skin out. Completely fixed my skin barrier. My beauty therapist asked me what I was using because my skin was glowing because of this product. So thank you very much. I am so happy to hear that you loved it. And there's nothing better than getting a compliment from somebody else about your skin. So thank you very much for sharing that with us and for sharing with your beauty therapist as well. Now, before I get on to our recommendation of the week, I did just want to share one of the reviews that has been left for the podcast. And this is from Lisa. And Lisa said, most informative skincare podcast out there. I've been listening to Lauren's show for a while now, and it has by far become my favorite podcast. Lauren creates content that is not only informative, but also really interesting. Most importantly, she goes beyond common skincare knowledge and industry news you've probably already heard on YouTube or read on blogs when you're a skincare nerd such as myself. Please give this show a good listen. I promise you'll learn something you didn't know yet. Oh, thank you very much, Lisa. I'm really, really glad to hear that you've been enjoying the show. And yes, look, we do try and share something a little bit different, just because I'm one of those people myself, and I do also get really sick of reading the same stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually subscribed to a lot of the alerts, like a Google alert that I get into my email inbox, you know, for lots and lots of different beauty topics. And oh my God, the sheer amount of stuff that is just regurgitated, you know, like, and it's not even like the same stuff in the same week. I'm talking about, like, I swear I read that article like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and it's doing the rounds again with just the same products, the same topics, and it can get a little bit boring. So I'm really glad to hear that so far we're not having that problem on the show. I will do my best to keep trying and bringing you guys new stuff that you haven't already heard before. That's one thing that I know when I'm sort of scouring around and having a look what's out there, I'm always conscious of. I'm like, I really don't want to just, you know, make a boring podcast. I just, nothing is worse. Nothing is worse than when you've sat down, you've been waiting to hear something and you're like, this sucks. This is not interesting. Tell me something I don't already know. You know, like everyone has those ones from time to time, but let's try and keep it interesting. That is my goal with this show. So thank you very much. If you guys would like to also share your review, I would love to read it out. I would love to know what you think. If you have any suggestions, feedback, if there is a new, I don't know, segment maybe that you guys would like to do, something you'd like to add to the show, I am always happy to accommodate wherever I can. So let me know. You've got to tell me. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm just standing here in a room talking to myself. All right, let's wrap up today with the recommendation of the week. And this is a drama that I'm sure a couple of you guys have already started watching. This is the one that I'm going to talk about it is legal drama, and it is about a rookie attorney. Now, they're calling it different names in different countries, but basically Attorney Woo, I think, is how it's being translated in most places. And it is about an autistic rookie attorney at one of the local law firms here, you know, obviously fictional, not a real place. But this has been cropping up everywhere. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are watching it. So it actually started out on a new cable channel, and then it's also now on Netflix. And when the series first started, it had a rating viewership of like 0.9%, which is, you know, it's pretty normal, quite low, I guess. I don't know, like nothing. It's not like people were going out in droves and watching it, but by the time it got to the 8th episode, it is up to 13.1% viewership. It's becoming really, really popular here in Korea, and obviously now that it's on Netflix as well. And, you know, it's basically follows the story of this genius attorney who is also autistic. There have been a couple of K-dramas like this. Good Doctor was one from a couple of years ago that was also really, really beautiful, that just told a really nice story about someone that just looks at the world in a different way from us. And I actually always love these kind of shows. So go and check this one out if you haven't already. It's just it's sometimes nice to look at the world from a different lens, from the way that we normally do. You know, I'm not going to comment on how realistic I think it is. It doesn't really matter. You know, that's not really the point of the show. But if you do like yourself a legal drama, and you do like these kind of ones that look at it from just a really refreshing lens, a different perspective, from someone that approaches the world in a different way, this is a really, really beautiful story. So go and check that out. I know a lot of you will have already seen it. You'll have to let me know if you are enjoying it. And if you haven't already tuned in, go and tee that up on your Netflix if you have one. Otherwise, you can watch it on the cable channel ENA as well. All right, I'm going to leave it there for today. I will be back on Thursday and we're talking some really fun skincare ingredient combinations. So stick around for that, and in the meantime, I will see you on Style Story.